Part 5 of fact-checking Robert F. Kennedy Jr. from the presidential debate. If you're just joining, make sure you go watch parts 1 through 4. I do have a playlist right on my profile. Now this part is actually kind of a continuation of the last one. It's also about immigration. So I'm gonna roll the clip and then I'm gonna fact check at the end. And just so you know, I did have to edit out like 1 or 2 words just because social media doesn't like those words.
Mr. Kennedy, the question which neither candidate answered was, there are millions of undocumented immigrants in the country now. What would you do?
Well, I want to comment on their digressions because I think President Trump is right that there's a lot of bad people coming across. I think that's undisputed, and we're seeing rises in crime that are associated with the immigrants. But more importantly, there's just a sheer number of them, and I think a lot of the Democrats allowed this to happen out of a humanitarian impulse, out of the impulse of compassion. But when you're actually down there and talking to people, it's not a compassionate solution. The people that I talked to, many of them have been extorted, they've been exploited, they've been robbed. We have an immigration policy in this country that is now being run by the Sinaloa drug cartel. The Border Patrol takes, because they've been ordered not to do their job, they're, catch and release. They bring them to the Yuma airport, put them on a plane to any destination they want. This is true. It sounds like hyperbole, but it's not. And they pay their ticket. And then they get reimbursement from FEMA. It's insane. There's 110,000 immigrants now in New York, and President Trump's right. They're being put up at hotels. Many of them are on the street. They have a asylum court date 7 years in the future. They can't legally work, so they're taken advantage of by predatory employers. We're paying them $6 or $8 an hour, and those employers are bidding against union shops. We're getting paid $35 or $50 an hour, and the union shops are losing the bid. They are camped out in Randall's Island on the playing fields where the children are supposed to be playing for sports. Those fields were closed during COVID. So these kids, these wonderful New York City kids, or scholarship track, could not play their sport, and their lives were, and now the same thing's happening. They can't play their sport because there's immigrants.
Time is up here.
So Kennedy said, we're seeing rises in crime that are associated with the immigrants. I put this one as true, and I'm going to fully explain why, and all my sources are right on my website. The U.S. Customs and Border Patrol keeps a record of arrest of individuals with criminal convictions. This is referring to non-citizens. Now, as you can see from this chart, the number of convictions has dramatically gone up, double, tripled in some cases. Now, I've heard it numerous times, and I'm sure you have, that non-citizens commit way less crimes than citizens. I found conflicting reports about that. I found a report that actually confirms that, but then I found a report that doesn't. The Department of Justice reports that, quote, we observed considerably lower felony arrest rates among undocumented immigrants compared to legal immigrants and native-born U.S. citizens. And that report is from 2020. But on the other hand, the Bureau of Justice Statistics reports, quote, 64% of all federal arrests were of non-U.S. citizens. As those reports completely conflict, I revert back to the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol, which does agree with Kennedy's original statement that we're seeing rises in crime that are associated with the immigrants. Here's the next claim. He says the Border Patrol takes, because they've been ordered to not do their job, catch and release, they bring them to the Yuma airport, put them on a plane to any destination they want, and they pay their ticket. They have an asylum court date 7 years in the future. Here's the thing. I've done a lot of research about the border, and I know this is true. Problem is, I can't really talk about it on social media because there's a lot of keywords that social media doesn't like. Please don't see this as I'm trying to avoid the question, because I'm not. But on my website, I have 2 links to videos that you can watch that fully go through all of this. I'm gonna tell you right now, those 2 videos are done by Dr. Phil. And I don't know why, but a lot of people have a gripe with Dr. Phil recently. In those 2 videos, all he does is he goes to the border and he talks to the Border Patrol, even the president of the border union. All he does is ask questions. So don't believe Dr. Phil, believe what the actual border agents are saying in those videos. As always, let me know your thoughts about all this. Make sure you're following me for more, because I'm gonna crank out a ton more videos tomorrow. It's the weekend, so I've only done 2 a day, but I'm gonna try to get through, if not all, a majority of them tomorrow.